One guy on my Instagram was saying, you have the liver values of a woman. Hello friends, welcome to week 10's Q&As, joined by my lovely and helpful wife Lucie.
Hi guys.
Lucie will be asking me another of your questions, so let's go to the next one.
Next one is by Guff Athletic 117. Liver health and how to reverse some of the condition we as athletes might get: cirrhosis, elevated enzyme, cysts.
Thank you, Lucie. Okay, this is a loaded question. So, first of all, let me say that I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice. And if you suffer from any kind of liver condition, especially something as serious as cirrhosis, you need to consult an experienced and capable doctor that specializes in the liver, like a hepatologist. In general, you need to consult a doctor. This is a very serious condition, okay? With that said, for informational purposes, the reason why I would address this question is because I get asked about this very frequently. I can't give you a simple answer to this. I mean, the reason why is there are some drugs that have been used to treat liver disorders. I'll go into them as I discuss this, but there is no simple solution. Like, the only drug prescribed for cirrhosis, by the way, in the US by the FDA is something called UDCA, UDCA. It's a bile acid similar to TUDCA. It's also been combined with obeticholic acid. To some extent in some research that's shown it's beneficial in cirrhosis, but obeticholic acid has mainly been shown to treat NASH. I'll get into all this in a second. The other thing that you can think of, so obeticholic acid, UDCA, and the TZDs, which are PPAR gamma receptor agonists. The TZDs in particular, pioglitazone has been used to treat NASH. So pioglitazone, obeticholic acid, and UDCA are the main tools that have been used that research shows. Now, I'll get into the details of this. So basically, liver disease, this is informational, not medical advice. Liver disease tends to be recognized in the form that's called NASH, non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, or even alcoholic steatohepatitis. In either case, it's characterized by something called steatosis. Steatosis is when the liver hepatocytes are inflamed. Okay, they're inflamed from oxidative stress. So inflammation, oxidative stress in the body causes specific inflammation at the liver hepatocytes. And this is called steatosis. When you have steatosis, you have liver disease. Now, researchers and doctors do not know whether NAFLD, fatty liver disease, always precedes steatosis. It's not clear, but it potentially always precedes steatosis. So it's potentially always the case that you get non-alcoholic or alcoholic fatty liver disease, then you get steatosis, then you get something called fibrosis, which is the deposition of collagen at the inflamed hepatocytes, which leads to something called cirrhosis. Cirrhosis is when the hepatocytes are now replaced with scar tissue from that collagen that's being put there. So this is the progression of liver disease. Now, when people get to cirrhosis, it has to essentially, well, before I get to that state. So, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease can occur simply because of a low amount of the essential nutrient choline in the body. So it's been shown that in people who are given total parenteral nutrition, which is replacement of their food through an IV an IV fluid, those people that have a choline deficiency in the food that they're getting develop first non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, then NASH, steatosis, just from the choline deficiency. So this has been shown first in 1992 or 1993, and then in 1998 the medical associations in the US realized that choline was an essential nutrient because without it, everybody would develop fatty liver and then steatosis. So first of all, you have to know that you need to have a good choline intake to prevent this. The other thing that you can do to lessen the likelihood that you develop steatosis is to use protective compounds, compounds that reduce oxidation specifically at the liver.
Okay.
And these compounds, there's no magic secret here. These compounds are the things that you already know about. So for example, the things that you always see me taking, all these supplements, which are like garlic, turmeric does this, Interestingly, a compound in black licorice has been shown very effective at doing this. Milk thistle does this as well. I'm just thinking of things off the top of my head that have evidence. I mean, there's a wide variety of things that reduce oxidation at the liver.
Okay.
With that said, so basically having these compounds and having a choline heavy diet should hopefully limit the likelihood that you develop fatty liver and progress into non-alcoholic steatosis. Once you get to non-alcoholic steatosis, then it becomes a complicated issue, because reducing the oxidation or the inflammation there may not reduce the steatosis directly. In research studies, the main things that have been found to reduce the steatosis, as I said, are the PPAR gamma agonists, like pioglitazone. In general, all these end with zone, but the one that most research is pioglitazone. It has some really great research behind it. Another one is the obeticholic acid. Obeticholic acid has newly been researched. Obeticholic acid has been combined with vitamin E, as well as pioglitazone in the treatment of non-alcoholic steatohepatitis, and has been shown effective.
Okay.
So why has been combined with vitamin E? Because of the antioxidizing effect of vitamin E on the liver. The same sort of vitamin E is physically antioxidizing, while things like garlic and other things will reduce the inflammation indirectly through hormetic processes. In the end, it's shown that the combination of some kind of antioxidant effect, as well as the PPAR gamma agonist, which, by the way, the problem with pioglitazone is that it may cause heart failure. So there's, as I mentioned last week, I was talking about the PPARs. It has like serious cardiac side effects. So maybe obeticholic acid is more. Of course, you need to ask your doctor about this. But most of the research has been showing that obeticholic acid, as well as pioglitazone, as well as a combination of antioxidant, those together can reduce non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. Now, the thing is, unfortunately, this is where it gets really serious. So the next stage, though, unfortunately, the scary thing is, once you get past NASH and you get into fibrosis and cirrhosis, the doctors don't have much to tell you. That's why liver replacements are so common. When you get that scar tissue buildup, the only FDA-approved medication is UDCA, which is a bile acid. Very similar to TUDCA, which bodybuilders and athletes take often. TUDCA is potentially as effective as UDCA, by the way. These are bile acids. The only FDA approved. You have cirrhosis, you go to a doctor, he's going to tell you UDCA. If you are resistant to UDCA, there are some trials that show that combining UDCA with obeticholic acid, may be beneficial. But they're not FDA approved. The only thing that is known to reverse, or not reverse, but nothing is known to reverse, stop the progression of cirrhosis is UDCA. And in general, what hepatologists do is they try to catch the cirrhosis as early as possible, and then give the person UDCA and hope for the best. Now, if it's caught very early, in people who are responsive to UDCA, they can live a long time. They can live the same level, same lifetimes as people without cirrhosis.
Okay.
But if it's caught early, if it's not, and if you're resistant to UDCA, God knows what can happen to you. So, now I want to mention a couple of other things he said in his question. The first thing is he said athletes frequently suffer from these things. This is not true. It's not true that athletes suffer particularly from liver diseases. It's more in the strength and bodybuilding world that they suffer from it. In fact, there's evidence that cardiovascular activity is actually preventative for NAFLD, the first stage of liver disease, the fatty liver disease. In fact, you don't find even cyclists who abuse drugs a lot. They usually don't have liver diseases. They have heart diseases, but they usually don't have liver disease. Why? Because they move so much. A lot, it seems, to do with liver disease has to do with that buildup of fat as well in the beginning. But who knows if it always precedes steatosis? But it seems to. And it's not clear yet. So that's one thing. The second thing is elevated liver enzymes is not the way to catch this from happening. In fact, around 20% of people with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and with NASH do not even have elevated liver enzymes. I've mentioned this before in a different video, which was called How to Reverse NAFLD. You cannot catch NAFLD really from liver enzymes. In fact, you can't even catch it from most scans. The fMRI scans are not very effective. CAT scans are not very effective and very damaging. So it's not very easy to catch this. But especially, you could have steatosis and your liver values are totally normal. What you do know is if your liver values are high, something is really going wrong, because they can be normal and you don't have steatosis. Once you have steatosis, you really need to be serious about addressing it before you get that deposition of scar tissue, which happens, I believe, quicker than we realize. And cirrhosis is just sort of an end stage level of where your liver is basically turning into scar tissue. So to go back to the top, what I would do is, first of all, don't take medical advice from me. Take medical advice from a real doctor, someone who is specialized in that. I have no expertise with liver disease or anything like that. What I know about it, I've only researched, not even for my clients, just for myself, because I'm always worried about these kind of things. What I would, and by the way, the stuff that I researched has led me to have these low liver values that one guy on my Instagram was saying, you have the liver values of a woman. He said this twice. He even DM'd me later. His name is Dustin, I think. He's like, your liver values are like a woman's liver values. And he told me he works in some place where he sees a lot of people's liver values and nobody has these liver values. The thing is, by the way, Dustin, women are more likely to have NAFLD than men, first of all. And second of all, women are more likely to live longer. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. But in reality, actually, women tend to have high liver values. Mainly, on average, mainly because they tend to have more body fat. And they tend to have more fatty livers. But the reason my liver values are so low, which they used to be very high, is because of the lifestyle I lead, which is basically hepatoprotective. And I take so many supplements that reduce oxidizing activity around my liver. So you want to consider those supplements. Things like, and I didn't mention NAC. NAC, the reason why it's so protective for oxidation is because it donates cysteine for the production of glutathione. So it increases glutathione production in the body. So things you want to look at are like garlic, N-acetylcysteine, which is NAC, the black licorice. So the problem with the black licorice is that it may raise cholesterol levels. So you might want to be careful about that. But in general, EGCG, which is a green tea. In my opinion, though, with EGCG, I would just drink green tea throughout the day. But basically, you get a combination of these different antioxidants. I don't want to list them all here. It takes a lot of time, and I'll miss some. But you want to they're not antioxidants, all of them. Some of them are hormetic stressors, but things that reduce oxidation on the liver. And you want to get those there. Then you want to take, personally, I would take preventative TUDCA. I already do it myself. I think it's a good reason to take TUDCA in general. Very helpful. It's a bile acid. It's very similar to UDCA. In fact, it's been shown in some studies to be preferable to UDCA. In some studies, depends. UDCA basically passes through some membranes better than TUDCA. So that's the main difference. But anyway, I would take that, and I would make sure that my diet, so I would take TUDCA, the antioxidants, and I would make sure my diet is not deficient in choline. Very important. And then also take some time off during your day from eating, so that and from taking things. So like I would do a time restricted eating kind of thing where you give your body time to recover. That's what I would do personally. But remember, if you let yourself get to that cirrhosis level, also he mentioned liver cysts.
Yeah.
Liver cysts are not really correlated to any of these stages of liver disease except cancer. So I don't know how he knows he has liver cysts. It's hard to tell if you have them. That's a really scary thing. If you have cirrhosis, you are much more likely to develop something called hepatocellular carcinoma, HCC. That has cysts with it.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's very dangerous if you have cysts, but you may have cysts and not have any of the other stages and not have cancer. So it's not necessarily that correlated with it. But be careful, guys. Take a preventative measure. And most important, as I said in the How to Reverse NAFLD, don't be having that oxidizing effect in your life. You can take all these things to improve your body's response to it, but find out what is causing that toxic effect in your body. Is it your mental state? Is it your lifestyle? Is it some kind of, are you taking Tylenol, acetaminophen? Are you taking something that's causing a serious toxicity in your liver? Get that out of your life as quickly as possible. You don't want to be basically putting that chronic stress on your liver and then trying to take these molecules to try to make your liver repair, because then you're just overworking your liver. You don't want to be doing that. You only have one liver, and liver replacement is a serious thing. So, all right, guys, I wish you the best of luck. Consult with a hepatologist, someone who is expert on this, and this is just for information's sake. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you next week.